Which is better to add to your at-home coffee shop? The Keurig V700, the Keurig V600, or the Keurig V500 single-serve coffee machine? Well, we're going to help you to answer that question today here on Aromacup.com. Hi everyone, I'm Brian with Aromacup.com. Thank you as always for joining me here in my virtual coffee shop brought to you by Aromacup.com. Let's jump right into what I mentioned on the intro to this video. We're going to be talking about the differences between this army of Keurig Vue machines that I have in front of me here today. So let's start off and talk about some of the distinct differences between each of these machines. Let's start off with the V700. This is sort of the granddaddy of all of these machines. The big difference between this one and the 600 and 500, it has a color touchscreen, whereas the 600 and 500 have black and white touchscreens, but they all do have touchscreens. And then the difference between the 700 and the 600 beyond that aesthetically is that you get this sort of silver embellishment on the 700. You don't have that on the 6 or the 500. So those are really the only big differences when you come right down to kind of those initial things between all of them. The other thing to mention when you're talking about the differences between each of these is going to be that the water reservoirs are a little bit different on each one. On the V500, you have the smallest reservoir, that's 60 ounces, whereas over here on the 6 and the 7, you have a 72-ounce water reservoir. Those are the major distinct differences between these machines. Let's talk about another difference between these machines that you're not going to be able to see on camera, so I'm just going to tell you about it. Now this V700 and V600 both clock in at 1500 watts for their operating wattage, whereas on the V500 you're looking at 1470 watts, so a little bit less energy consumption on the V500. The other difference, and again this is something that you can't really see on camera but I can tell you is a big difference, the V500 is much lighter than the 600 and the 700. These machines are pretty darn heavy. They do have a lot going on, so that makes a lot of sense, but the V500 is much, much lighter, even with water added to its water reservoir. I find that it's much lighter than the two of these machines. So those are some distinct differences, a little bit of energy savings, and maybe a little bit of savings to your muscles depending on how much you're going to be moving each of these around. Finally, let's talk about the button designs on each of these. Now you're going to notice that on the 700 and the 600, the brew button is right here on top of the brew basket. For some reason I always found that a little bit strange. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm just used to using multiple buttons to brew, and it's very different with the Vue machines where you just use one button after you've selected what you want to brew on your touchscreen. Well, that's a little different over here on the V500 where your brew button is on the right front hand side of the machine. So that is a slightly distinct difference. It's a little smaller, but either way the operation is going to be the same, which is going to be dropping your Vue pack or whatever kind of brew option you're going to be using. Choose your brew size, and you can also choose your brew temperature on all of these machines. Choose the type of beverage that you're brewing, whether it be coffee, tea, or maybe a specialty drink, something like that, and then start brewing. So the operation is very much the same between all of these. Each one has a touch screen. Each one allows you to do things like set your temperature, set your brew size, and etc. Let's talk about the pricing on each of these machines, and you're going to find it maybe a little bit surprising because I know I kind of did. The V700, which of course is the full-featured machine, comes in at $149. And then you're looking at $139 on the V600, and then finally on the V500, you're looking at $119.99. I find the pricing very interesting here because really all that you're paying $10 more for on the V700 is a color screen, essentially. And then on the 600 and the 500 are kind of almost the same machine with the exception of some small differences that I've outlined. But the pricing difference is very, very distinct, with that V500 coming in at least a good chunk cheaper. So, if you're looking to be a little bit thrifty and get into a Keurig Vue machine, the V500 is going to be the way to go. But however, the price difference is not so much if you decide to go up to the V700, if you just want to get all of the features in one fell swoop and get that color touchscreen, which is admittedly kind of cool. What's my bottom line on all of these machines? Well, my bottom line is that I've used each one. I've used it a lot. I've brewed coffee and different beverages with each one, and I think any of them are going to make a great addition to your at-home coffee shop. I think the only thing you really need to choose is how much money you want to spend, and what exactly the features are that you're looking for, because you're not really going to lose or gain a whole lot with each one. So it just kind of comes down to how maybe picky you are when it comes to your machine. With the exception of the V500 being a little bit lighter, there's not a whole major difference going on between all of these, so it's just down to how much you want to spend. I know if I was going to choose one, I'd probably honestly just go with the V500 because it's going to give me all the features that I need, and it's going to do it at a little bit less expensive price point. So if you're looking for an awesome coffee machine to add to your at-home coffee shop, I do think that any of these will work. They're all very versatile, they're very capable, and they are very cool machines in the long run. Now, if you want to find out where you can purchase any of these machines, check out the link in the description here on our video. If you have questions, comments, or anything else you'd like to add, please feel free to be in touch with us in the comments here on our video, or get in touch with us at Aromacup.com. I hope you guys found this video useful and informative when you go out to purchase and add one of these machines to your own at-home coffee shop. As always, guys, I'm Brian, coming to you from Aromacup.com. I want to thank you for joining me here in my virtual coffee shop. Enjoy your cup, and I'll see you next time. Take care.